Morning, everyone. Check. Morning, everyone. If you could just please take your seats. We're already running a little bit late. Is this working at all? Turned on. Check, check. Check, 1, 2. I can turn it. Check, check, 1, 2. All right. If everybody could please take your seats. We're running a little bit late. All right. Thanks, everybody, for coming today. I'd like to welcome you to 1 Million Cups. We're here every Wednesday morning at 9, a little late today. 1 Million Cups is an entrepreneurial support organization nationwide, or I guess international. It is nationwide, okay. Supported by the Kauffman Foundation, or started by them. Just a quick intro here. I'm Paul DiDiego with Pizza Paul's Perfect Pies, working on starting a food truck and hopefully the next few months have that up and running. Right now you can get my pizzas at Sacred Grounds Cafe, where I'm working as a head chef there. So the coffee sponsor is not actually here today. I'm sorry, coffee roaster, you are. Coffee roaster is Sleepy Turtle Coffee Company, and Kirsty Logan is not here. But the coffee sponsor is I Write Writing Academy. Sorry, with Nanette here.
Good morning. Thank you all so much for being here. And I'd also like to thank 1 Million Cups for allowing me to be a sponsor. My business, I Write Writing Academy. I am the owner of I Write Writing Academy. And mainly what we do is we teach self-published authors how to write, sell, and self-publish their books correctly the first time. So we believe in saving people money and time by teaching them the correct way to self-publish your book. Self-publishing books are hard, and so if you don't know the information as far as the legality and everything that happens with self-publishing, if you are not working with the writing team, in more cases, you will end up having to republish your book or reprint your book. I'm Lynette with I Write Writing Academy, and thank you so much.
Thank you. I saw your email about your graduation from Thrive this weekend. I'm excited for you. I'll be working, but I won't be able to make it. But and our coffee cup sponsor is the SBDC and the BBB. Is anyone here from there today? Well, we like to thank them anyway. As a quick reminder, if you could silence your cell phones, and there's a barcode on the back table if you want to check in with the app today. And our first presenter is going to be Starr Cuyler. She is the owner and director of Precious Cargo Childcare Education, Childcare and Education, a daycare that is launching this summer.
Thanks, Judy. Do you know each different computers you want to?
She's just, I've got to pull up her presentation.
Okay, there you go.
It's all on the screen.
Okay, then how do I make it bigger? Just do.
Transition.
You just do probably that. No, this right here. Yeah.
Okay. And then how would
You'll
how do I go back?
you probably use this.
Oh Lord, how do I go back? Okay. Hi, everyone. So I am currently in the process of opening up a daycare, like they said. My story starts with my mother. My mother was a single mother, and she raised me and my sister all by herself. She entered the daycare field, and she pretty much was a teacher in a lot of daycares in the area, and she helped. She helped with raising us, and because of that, I grew up in daycares myself. So I spent a lot of time after school and during the summers in daycares, and basically learning there and doing everything that I needed to do in daycares as a child. It was a little. It was a little hectic at times. You know, there are some good daycares, there's some bad daycares, and so you have good experiences and bad experiences. I eventually had my own son, and I was a single mother for about 2.5 years of his life. And of course, you know, you have to provide, so my son had to go to a daycare. One of my biggest worries about going to a daycare was the mistreatment. You hear all the time, you know, on the news, mistreatment, you know, not teaching the proper curriculum. You hear a lot of different things in daycares, and so it gets really scary. But luckily for me, I did have my mom there, and so I always had that kind of security that other people don't really have when they go to a daycare. You know, it's unfamiliar. You don't really know anything, and I had, luckily, my mother there to kind of overwatch and keep watch of my son and make sure that he was taken care of and that he was well taken care of. But it is a huge worry for everyday parents and for everyone to take your kid to a daycare, especially as a baby, because they can't speak and they can't talk. So you don't really know what's going on, and they can't express these things to you. So as a parent, it can be kind of nerve-wracking. About 2.5 years in, I met my husband, and we got married about a year after we met. But I met my husband when my son was about 2.5 years old, and he was in the service. My home quickly turned from a home of me and my son, a single mother, and just a little boy, to me, my husband, and he had 2 boys of his own. So we had a house. We went instantly from a house of 2 to a house of 5. Now, if anybody knows, a house of 5 turns into a huge expense when you have daycare. You go from 1 kid to 3, and that instantly raises your cost. And so me and my husband had decided, after being stationed to Fort Stewart, we had decided that it was just best that I be a stay-at-home mom and stay at home with my children and just, you know, be one-on-one. Not only that, again, I was really worried moving to a different state, putting my son in a daycare, and not having my mom to overlook my son, and not having my mom to make sure that my child was safe and protected. So that was a huge worry for me. So we just decided that was what was best, that I stayed home, raised the kids, be there when they got home after school, be there when they needed me, and just that was my goal, and my main focus was the children. After being there, I had started babysitting and watching other spouses' children, because again, as a military, when you move, you don't know anybody. So every moving spot, it's like starting a whole new life, meeting new friends, meeting new care providers, new people you can trust with your children. It's a whole, every single time, it's a whole new life. It's completely different. The area is different, the friends, everything is just completely different. But one of the things that I wanted to do was to be able to provide daycare, or provide a babysitting service that service members could respect and honestly feel safe. So it was important to me to make sure that when I babysat and I watched children, that I provided this kind of environment. And it was in this time that I realized that I had a passion for it. It was more than just babysitting for me. For me, it was a huge responsibility, and I took it very, very seriously. So during that time, I had a few families. I did date nights. I was able to meet friends, and we were able to kind of exchange our kids back and forth. One night she would watch the kids, the next night I'd watch the kids. And so that was really great. But I had a lot of parents just tell me, like, you're amazing, you're great with kids. And I was like, yes, I love it. And so for me, it was everything for me. And I didn't really know what my career path was going to be, because at the time I was just a stay-at-home mom. But I knew at that moment that that was it. So when my husband left the services and we returned back home, I was just like wondering, like, what am I going to do? How am I going to do this? And I did go and I applied at some daycares, and it seemed like every daycare that I went to just kind of didn't meet my standards. It didn't fit what I felt like a daycare should be. I feel like it should be just important to social development. Fun is really important. And also just a safe, nurturing environment. And there are a lot of daycares. There's great daycares out here, but there are a lot of daycares that I feel lack in certain areas. And because of that, I had felt like, because of that, I had decided that I definitely wanted to further my education, and I decided to go to school at Community College of Denver. With me, I know that you don't require these kind of degrees in order to open up a daycare or work at one, but for me, I took it really serious. And so I wanted to get the proper education. I wanted to get the proper standards, the proper rules, the proper regulations. And because of that, I decided to go to school. I got my degree, my associate's degree. I am currently a student at UCCS, and I am working on my bachelor's degree. And the goal is eventually my master's degree, with the end goal being to teach early childhood education at a college level.
So we have about 20 minutes of Q&A here. So,
Starr, first of all, congratulations on everything that you're doing with your daycare, as well as the presentation. It gave me just a little bit more, like, to tell your story and to know your action behind it. So what is it that you want the parents to get from your experience of, just being able to come to a new daycare here in Colorado? Like you were saying, there's so many daycares. So what is it that you want to just be able to portray to parents?
Well, first and foremost, I think safety is number one. That's really, really important to me. But I also want a daycare in which we focus on social and emotional development. And I also want to make sure that I provide a flexible schedule. So whereas most of these daycares are not open past 6 o'clock, my daycare will be open from 7 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night, so late evenings as well as weekends, which helps parents not have to limit themselves to basically a schedule. As we know, this work field is very, very trying. You're competing with so many people. There's a lot of single mothers like me who have to turn down jobs because they can't work past 6, or they can't work, on weekends. And so we want to make that an option for them, just so that they can also have a good fight in the workforce. So it's definitely important that we have expanded hours, safety, and, like I said, love. I want community, pretty much.
Hey, Starr, good presentation. I have been a single parent myself as well. I have a 22-year-old daughter now, so I've gone through and can totally relate to exactly what you're talking about. And so the thing that intrigues me a little bit is a couple things. What does make a good daycare? So that's so there's kind of a list of things. I think I'd be curious to look at that list a little bit. But the one piece you've already kind of hit on a little bit, and this could be like potentially your primary selling point is emotional intelligence, and that was the thing that I was surprised. Like, my daughter went to some of the supposedly greatest places in town, Giving Tree Montessori School, and the center at the UCCS, and all these different great places. But surprisingly, she didn't really get that emotional connection with her peers, and she kind of felt like an outsider. And surprisingly, that left quite an impression on her as an outsider. So this whole thing about emotional intelligence, can you speak a little bit more about that? And
Definitely.
Maybe that is your primary selling point.
Okay, so with me, when we have young children, you'll often go to a daycare, or if kids, they're young, they get into arguments, they get into fights. Teachers will sit there and they'll look at the child and they'll say, we don't hate our friends, tell me how you feel. But as a 2-year-old, they don't know how they feel. They can't express that. So whereas most teachers or daycares, it's like, tell me how you feel and then you move on, or, don't hit your friends and then you move on. We would be able to sit down and connect a little bit more with our children and be able to explain, like, how are you feeling? How are you feeling in this moment? Instead of saying, what words can you use? We want to express, like, how are you feeling? How does this make you feel? Are you upset? Is there something we can do to help you, where it's more of a one-on-one emotional training and social training? A lot of schools focus on the curriculum part. The daycares focus on the ABCs, the 1, 2, 3s, whereas they don't focus as much on the behavioral and the emotional and the social aspect and the communication aspect. And they really miss on the mark of, like, explaining to children how to feel. What I do plan to do is I do plan to incorporate, like, for example, meditations into my curriculum, which I feel is super important. There's been research that shows that meditation really does help children in their development. But also, one of the things that I would love to do is incorporate more bonding times, whereas, like, the children wouldn't only just be in the school atmosphere, but offering events outside of school, painting nights, date nights, kids night out, so kids can also get to know each other on a personal level and not just the schools. But it's also been proven that kids that you focus on their social and emotional development, they actually grade and rate, like, their education is way higher, like in those kindergarten, first grade, and third grade years, because of the fact that they're able to express themselves in a way better way than most kids can.
First, I think it's amazing that you said, they weren't up to your standards and you're going to make a change. I like that. And second, do you think, like, growing up in childcare and around it, do you think that might have pushed you? You said you didn't know what you wanted your career to be or anything. Do you think that might have pushed you and faced you in the right direction?
Definitely. So as I've been to a few. I'm a Colorado native, so I actually grew up right here in Colorado. So I grew up in a lot of these daycares. I went to the one just downtown, and I've been to Horizon. And so for me, as a person that's been to a daycare, it definitely shaped me and molded me, because, like I said, there was little things, like coming to pick up your child and they're in dirty clothes. I don't feel like that's just something that should happen. And so little things that are my standards and their standards, it definitely shapes me. Also knowing what I liked. So there's certain daycares that there's certain things I liked, and so those are the things that I want to make sure that I incorporate into my daycare, because I know what it's like to be in a daycare. So yes, for sure. And my mom, she's my hero. So her being in the daycare field only pushed me even more, and I love having her expertise behind me.
That's awesome. Yeah, let it roll through the generations. Love
Right.
it. And I know that 6 minutes goes by really fast. So I bet you could have told us a little bit more on your journey. Once you made that decision, what kind of happened after that? What's the journey more recently?
So like I said, I went to Community College of Denver, and I spent a lot of time there just getting my degree, which taught me, like I said, you don't really necessarily need that to open up a daycare, but it taught me the curriculum. It taught me about food programs. It taught me about how to set up a proper meal for nutrition. And so I feel like after that, I went to school and I learned those extra things that I needed. Shortly after I graduated about 1.5 years ago from Community College of Denver. I had thought when I first initially went that I was just going to go get my associates and be done, and then I was just going to go ahead and open up my daycare, and that was it. But what really pushed me was being a part and talking to my professors and being a part of that community in the early childhood education community. And so I had decided that I wanted to be more a part of the community. I wanted to not only shape one daycare, but be a teacher and a professor that's going to shape multiple minds and multiple people that are going to be in this field. And so I am now, like I said, working on my bachelor's degree. My eventual goal is to have my master's degree, and I would love to be a college professor and be a part of the field and be one of the people that teaches teachers. Then I know that there's multiple daycares and multiple directors with high standards, which is what we need.
Excellent. Good morning, Starr.
Good morning.
I love the heart that teachers have that want to spend any time around children. It's a superpower. My partner
currently does that and would love to have a school and run it herself.
Awesome.
What we're, of course, finding is that the big competition is within your own time, and it's mostly that because you're the owner, you now are responsible for administration. And so your love of being the teacher has to compete with love of running an actual school that's not chaotic. So what do you plan to do for administration? Do you plan to outsource that as somebody else helping you run that, or do you feel that that is your next transition for your growing business?
I actually plan to be fully hands-on, so I will be the standing director for my center, but I will be hiring me an assistant director as well as an administrator that would run the front desk. But I want to be fully hands-in and a part of it, so I don't plan to be, with me having an assistant director, I don't plan to be the director that kind of just sits inside the office and you just see her when the children are doing something or the teacher needs help. I want to be the director that's the floater. So when teachers go on breaks, every daycare has a floater that comes in and takes that place. And so I want to be the director that is the floater. I would love to be able to go in the classrooms, meet all the children, be one-on-one. I plan to be fully involved. I will be there on the family nights, family event nights. Like I said, we will have like family paint nights and family movie nights, popcorn nights, and I plan to be fully involved in everything just so that I know, and not only that, and I can overlook my own teachers and make sure that my teachers are providing the kind of care that I want in my facility. So definitely will be fully hands-in. Plan to do both. I will be like outsourcing for like paychecks and stuff like that, but I will be fully involved in the daycare.
I got it. Hi, Starr. It's fun to watch your idea grow. We met a few months ago and I got to have a one-on-one, so I think that that's pretty exciting to see this grow. And as a parent who's struggled with daycare for the last year or so, one of the biggest issues I've seen, and we've been disenrolled from a daycare because they have lack of staff. They just don't have enough people to watch the kids. So I don't know if there's just a lack of people in the field or if there's just so many daycares that there's not enough to go around. But I'm curious what your approach will be to find the people who are going to be watching the kids to carry on your dream and your passion, right? And so not just warm bodies, but people that are going to follow through with your curriculum and your plan. What's your plan with that?
Well, luckily, since my mother was in the field, she was a daycare provider about 21 plus years here in Colorado. And so a lot of her teachers already have, the people that she worked with and coworkers that she worked with already have heard my plan. And so they're all like, you let me know when you open this facility, I want to work for you. So my goal is to kind of get the teachers that I have personal experience with, that I know personally on a personal level, that they're just as inspired as me in this field. So I plan to just pull from teachers that I already know that are already in the field. I know what I want and what I don't want, and so just kind of being observant and doing interviews but my main part, and I think, like I said, the main edge that I have, which is true, there aren't really a lot of daycare. There's not a lot of daycares, and the biggest problem in the daycare industry is staffing, due to things like, for example, pay. Pay is really low in this field. So that is something that I do plan to work on and make sure that my teachers are making a decent pay. I feel like if I treat my teachers right, they're going to treat my business right. And so that's important to me too.
Hi, Starr. Hi. I've had the pleasure of sitting next to you in Thrive for the last few months and hearing your dreams come to life. I don't know if I've shared this with you, but I spent 3 years when I lived in Boston working as a speech pathologist and going to lots of daycares as part of an early intervention program. So I know exactly what you're talking about, those good and bad daycares. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, there just aren't enough of you. But one thing I noticed is, especially working with families, you know, if you weren't lucky enough to grow up in a household that provided, you know, positive parenting, whatever that means. I'm not a parent myself, but you know, there's no manual that comes with how do you raise a kid. So a lot of my job was kind of working with parents. But have you thought about having any kind of, I hate to call them classes, but helping parents carry over what you're doing in the daycare, to the rest of the time that they're at home?
I am so happy you asked me that question.
So, because I mean, you know, the kids can behave really great, but then they get home and the parents are like, what is going on?
Right.
And it's because they're not using the same techniques that you do. So, speak to that.
So what I plan to do is I actually plan to be a resource for my parents. For example, I plan to partner with a lot of people, local businesses as well. So we have sourdough classes, we have taekwondo, we have so many business owners that I can pair with that can provide like this help with the parents. So I feel like being a parent can be very stressful. So things like date nights I want to provide for parents, but also I would love to do parenting classes. I know it's really hard for people to admit that they need parenting classes, but it's true. We don't know everything. We don't come in with instructions. So I would love to once a month provide parenting classes, even if it just turns into a therapy session where parents release being stressed out. I would love that, where the parents can get together. I want donuts with dads where the dads can get together and they can just be dads and talk to each other and maybe get other parenting tips from other dads. You know, muffins with moms where moms can get together and just, you know, get to talk. But mainly I would love to provide parenting classes, first aid, CPR, just pair up with local businesses that will be able to be like beyond being a daycare, but also a resource and a family and a community, so that parents don't feel I think it's embarrassing to admit that you need help, but I want my parents to feel welcome and understand, like, hey, we understand. We know parenting isn't easy. We know it gets frustrating. Come talk to us. We know that life gets stressful. Maybe, you know, you lost your job and you need help with you know, filling out your food stamp application. I want to make sure that we're there to still guide these parents so that they feel comfortable enough to come to me and talk to me or anybody in my staff.
Hello.
Hi.
I understand that Colorado is moving towards free preschool. How is that going to affect your business?
Well, not really. It's a good question, but not really as much. Where daycare industry really needs a lot of students is that infant to toddler. So it will affect it slightly, but it's mainly the infant to toddler years that a lot of people need care. But also the difference with my daycare is that I'll be open on evenings, and there are no schools that are open past like 3-4 o'clock. So that's kind of my foot in the door to kind of curb that.
Hey, Starr. So the most important question is, what can we as a Colorado Springs community do to help you make this daycare come to life?
Okay, 2 things. I need lenders and investors. So if you know some good lenders, investors, please come to me. Opening up a daycare is expensive, especially there's so many rules, regulations. You have to have this size toilet, this size sink. There's so many regulations, and the cost starts to add up really fastly. But second thing is you can come to my pitch night this Saturday at First Baptist Church, and then you'll be able to hear more of the details, the revenue, the numbers about my daycare, and that just kind of help get that word and get that knowledge out there would be all I really ask.
Thank you so much, Sky. And we have a 1 Million Cups travel mug for you. That was amazing. Thank you. All right. So some quick announcements here are we would like to thank our media sponsor, Kevin Fedde of Fedde Studios. You wanna?
If I can get myself extracted from my spot over there. All right. Well, hey everyone. My name is Kevin. My business is Fedde Studios. I do, live events production. I do videos, promo videos, wedding videos, all that kind of thing. I do photography. I do drone photo and video. So if you need help with any of that, definitely let me know. Here you go.
Thank you. And I know Matt wasn't here earlier. Would you like to say a little something for the BBB? Again, this is our coffee cup sponsor. So.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I was not prepared this morning. I was a little bit late. I know we have a lot of events coming up soon that you could find on bbb.org. If you go to the Southern Colorado page, you'll be able to see the Buzz with the Bees events that we have coming, as well as the Advantage, which is where you can learn the benefits of being accredited. But if you are accredited, I'm the guy who can maximize those benefits for you. So come see me and let me know how I can help. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Since we're running a little short on time, I'm going to have Judy come up here if she's ready to say a little something about our space here. Yeah, we did get started a little bit late, so we're probably going to go over just a little bit past 10 today. It's okay if you have to leave early, but we usually stick around for some networking.
All right, is this one?
Whichever one you want.
All right, I'll take this one. Everything? This one?
You can go stereo.
Hi, everybody. Welcome, everyone, and thanks for being here to support the entrepreneurs here at the Next Us. That's what we're here to do. This one will be really quick, just a quick poem for everybody. Every instant, fully present. Eyes inside, breath divine. Vision open, ears receiving, gravity activated, strength engaged, options unlimited, your conscious derivative, percept inquisitive, interbounding infinite.
Thank you so much. So at this time, if any organizers would like to raise your hands, we can show. Oh, okay. Well, well, we actually have two new organizers we are onboarding today. Would you like to?
Oh, sure. So yes, as organizers, we always commit to 1 or 2 years. There's a couple of us that have been on for 4 years and 2 years, so some of us are rolling off in December. So today we welcome with these mugs. I'll let Paul help me. So as an organizer, you get a really fancy T-shirt and a mug that nobody else in the world gets besides the 1 Million Cups organizers. So Brittany and Coral, will you join us on stage, and everyone can welcome you as an organizer. I think I mixed them up. This one's yours. That one's Brittany's. So they're here all the time, and they're like, okay, I can do this. And so they'll be officially onboarded, and then by February, I'll be gone. And yeah, so we don't know who the lead organizer is going to be. That's always a personal choice, but that can be kind of shared too. So maybe one of these gals, maybe one of you, whatever you guys want. So yeah, as organizers, I think it's just the two of us. If you've been an organizer before and you're an alumni, can you raise your hand so we know who? Didn't you make alumni, Matt? Yeah. Okay. So usually after a year, you get that alumni status, and then people still know that they can reach out to you and get some help if they don't feel comfortable asking someone else here. But pretty much anyone in the room, you can say, I don't get it. What is this about 1 Million Cups? Or how can I get, plugged into this? Or, all the questions. This is what the organizers are for. So thank you guys for stepping into that position. I'm super happy.
Thanks so much. Welcome aboard. So, well, since we did our official closing announcements already, but we're technically out of time, but if you'd like to hear some community announcements, you're welcome to stick around.
As 3 people have already told you, Thrive Pitch Night and graduation for the 12th cohort is this Saturday at Springs First Church. 11th cohort, my apologies. The 11th cohort for Thrive, which is an entrepreneurial incubator. It's a 4-month program where we take Southeast residents who want to start businesses. It's from 3 to 6 p.m. at the Springs First Church. It's on Fountain and Murray, Fountain and Academy, between Academy and Murray. Yeah.
All right, because it was such a great success last week, today I'm doing another workshop, a complimentary workshop on how to fill your calendar or your gigs with using free organic marketing techniques. And in particular, today I'm going to use and talk about how to use artificial intelligence to power your free organic marketing. 12:30 downstairs in our executive boardroom.
How many of you are a coach or a consultant? How many of you know a coach or consultant? How many of you not going to raise your hand no matter what I ask? So how does it sound if you can convert your annual income into monthly revenue as a coach or consultant? Does that sound inviting? Yes? Well, I'm hosting a free masterclass to teach you just how to do that, where you can create a coaching program that fits your lifestyle, that puts all your expertise and unique experience together so you can do just that. So if you're interested, see me after class.
The Pikes Peak Library is hosting on the 16th of January, the 23rd of January, the 30th of January. It's called Out of the Box Marketing. It's for authors and writers and people, creatives that's interested in putting their information out there and how to do it in a way to where it's not selling, because we all hate pushy salesmen, right? So that's actually going to be at 6 o'clock every week from the January 23rd, the 30th, and also the 6th. So make sure if you're interested in the information, please see me after this. But this is a great way to support our local library, especially since they're putting these classes on for us. Thank you.
Thank you. I guess that's about it. If you have everyone in mind to. Oh yeah. Do you have an announcement? Is it for a free community event? Then that's not technically where we said it. All right. Well, thanks everybody for coming, and we'll be back next Wednesday.